It had been many years since Farfalla had fought while empowered by Warror's battle meditation. He had forgotten how much quicker and stronger the Ithorian's amazing talent made him feel. The Force flowed through him with greater power, filling him with its might. Yet even with their enhanced abilities, he wondered if they would survive the coming battle. As they burst into the room, a man, who could only have been Darth Bane, charged recklessly toward them. In any other instance, the move would have spelled a quick end to the encounter, as Raskta raced ahead of Farfalla to carve the Sith to pieces. Raskta's blue blades flickered too quickly for the eye to see, neutralizing her enemy's initial wild attack, then landing half a dozen lethal blows to his chest and abdomen. But instead of toppling, the big man kept coming, never even breaking stride. He would have plowed straight into Raskta, trampling her under his heavy boots, had she not cartwheeled to the side at the last possible instant. Bane never stopped, his momentum carrying him straight toward Farfalla. The Jedi Master had a moment to register the strange armor coat of hard, shiny shells he wore beneath his clothes. Then he too leapt to the side to avoid being crushed, surviving only because his reflexes were heightened by Warror's power. Raskta was already back on her feet and flying through the air toward him. Bane spun and threw a wave of invisible dark side power at her. A weapons master was not skilled at defending against enemy force attacks. The impact of the wave would have plastered her against the wall and crushed her, had Farfalla not thrown up a shield to protect the Ichani. Even so, her muscular body was plucked from the air and hurtled backward, though she twisted and turned so she landed on her feet. Farfalla saw the Sith Lord turn toward him, sensing the intervention that had saved Raskta's life. Bane unleashed a barrage of Sith lightning, gathering and releasing his power at the speed of thought. The Jedi threw up a force barrier to shield himself, but the electricity tore right through it and arced toward him. Then suddenly, Raskta was there to save his life, repaying a debt that was only a few seconds old as she threw herself in front of him. Fueled by Warror's battle meditation, she switched styles seamlessly, and her arms and blades became a blur as they carved figure eights in the air to catch and absorb the bolts of darkside energy. Their enemy fell upon them again, following up the lightning with pure aggression. Raskta rushed ahead of Farfalla to meet this second charge. She crouched low, viciously slashing at his thighs and calves, attempting to leave their opponent crawling legless on the floor. Her blades carved through his boots and sliced wide gashes in his pants, only to reveal more of the chitinous shells. Bane brought his lightsaber down at the Ichani, who crossed her blades into an X, attempting to block and trap her opponent's weapon at the point of intersection. But the Sith's move was only a feint meant to distract her, and at the last instant, he pulled his weapon back and swung an elbow around to catch her in the ribs. The contact lifted her off her feet and sent her sprawling. Then he was past her and bearing down on Farfalla. The Jedi Master dropped into an elegant defensive stance to meet the charge. "The handle!" Raskta gasped as she scrambled to her feet. The warning caused Farfalla to notice the hook-handled lightsaber of his enemy and the unusual grip it required. This would alter the nature of his attacks, causing them to come in from odd and unfamiliar angles. In the regimented and hyper-precise world of Jedi-Sith lightsaber duels, it transformed his style into something unique and unexpected. Valentine recognized, processed, and reacted to this information in a fraction of a second, allowing him to adjust his own weapons course just enough to block a strike that otherwise would have slipped along the edge of his blade and taken his arm off at the elbow. Even so, the strength behind the attack tore Farfalla's golden blade from his grip, sending his lightsaber skittering across the floor. Unarmed and helpless before his enemy, he was saved by Raskta. Knowing that her lightsabers couldn't penetrate Bane's armor, she slid in from behind and scissor-kicked his legs out from under him. He toppled over backward, turning his fall into a roll that ended with him back on his feet. However, the distraction allowed Farfalla to look over and reach out with the Force, calling his weapon back into his hand. He spun back to the fight to see that the Ichani weapons master had taken the offensive, sending quick flicks of her blue blades toward Bane's unprotected face, the only spot on his body seemingly not covered by the impenetrable shells. Remarkably, Bane was giving ground. "Stay back!" she shouted at Farfalla. "You'll just get in the way!" Farfalla did as he was told, gathering the energies of the light side to throw up another protective force barrier should Bane try to unleash his dark side powers against the Ichani. She seemed to be everywhere at once, in front of Bane, beside him, behind him, circling low, leaping to come in high, deflecting his blade with one of her own, then stabbing 3 quick times in succession at his eyes. The big man's head ducked and bobbed, twisting and turning to avoid her blows as he tried to mount a counteroffensive. Raskta's mastery of her blades was unparalleled, but even with her talents augmented by Warroar's battle meditation, she wasn't able to land a telling blow on such a small target through Bane's defenses. Still, the ferocity of her new strategy had turned the momentum in her favor, or so Farfalla thought. Bane continued his retreat, circling away from Raskta's blades, then suddenly turned and ran straight toward the unarmed Ithorian, standing just inside the door of the room. Battle meditation required Master Warroar's complete focus. There was no chance for him to mount any type of defense. If Bane cut him down, the others would lose the only advantage that gave them any chance of surviving the encounter. Farfalla released the power he'd been gathering in a single, concentrated burst. Bane was suddenly encased in a shimmering stasis field of light-side energy, freezing him where he stood. But his command of the dark side was too powerful for it to hold him for more than a split second. The shimmering field exploded into fragments as the Dark Lord broke free, though the momentary delay had allowed the Ichani to place herself between the Ithorian and the Sith. Raskta's blades hummed and sang as she engaged him again, determined to keep him from reaching Master Warroar at all costs. He's too strong, Farfalla realized, even as he ran to help her, both physically and in the power of the dark side. It's like trying to fight a force of nature. Johan! Sero! We need reinforcements!